are you going to stand out and make it to where that client thinks that you're doing something so much better than the other people? And how are you going to advertise those things so that they know online before they even use you that you do things differently? Welcome to another episode of the Detail Spot podcast. It has been a minute of no releases really, and that's a big part on me, a huge part on just what's going on in my life. And I know I've tried to fire this back up, and now the only way I can prove it to you guys is just through consistency. So, and that's my goal, is to, really time block my schedule to where I can make this a priority as well and get the content to you guys. So I really am sorry for, kind of going MIA and not uploading as many podcasts as regularly as I was before. But my goal is to get the value back to you guys and start consistently getting it back out. I'm not going to go through the whole spill of what's going on. All of you know I've had a baby within the past year and a half. Opened a couple other businesses and partnered on some things, and just really hard to, prioritize 5 things on the business side and, come back home on the personal side. But it's a priority now to me to start getting some content back out to you guys. But I'm going to get into this episode is really geared towards maybe a little bold on, just my point of view on what's been going on in the industry and how you guys can separate yourselves as far as, it is wintertime right now. And if you may struggle with wintertime detailing being a little bit seasonal as far as not being able to perform your services outside, or if you're mobile, so this is kind of geared towards you on how to stand out when the busy season does come, when spring comes back around, when all those detailers are starting to fire back up and, new detailers are popping up every day and the market gets a little bit saturated, saturated. And that word being, it's not really saturated just because there's levels to this game. And the only way to really stand out is kind of what I'm going to talk about in this episode. So if you're detailing business, or if you're worried about other detailing businesses popping up and competing with those, then you're putting yourself in the category of them. So what I mean by that is there's like 3 to 5 components, and I'll go over those components in this episode, but there's 3 to 5 components that every business needs. And it's kind of the deciding factor of whether you're going to succeed or not succeed. The first one being branding. You hear me talk about it on a whole bunch of other episodes, but if your branding looks just like theirs or is average or below average, then you're more than likely not going to stand out and attract those type of clients that you really want to attract. Now, if your branding looks superior and premium and better than the average, then your brand, you're going to attract those clients. Now, you have to pair branding with exposure. And what I mean by exposure is being able to be found online. So that leads me to the second component would be, website ranking, SEO. That all has to pair with your branding as well. So if you're not your brand could be the best there ever was, but if it's not being able to be found by anybody, then no one's going to know about you. So you pair branding with marketing, and marketing, that's a whole category, whether it be social media, you can get exposure, Google Maps listing, you can get exposure, your website, which is organic traffic, all those things paired together. Then you get into the paid advertisement side of it. But I truly think you should grow, and that's a side rant, that might be a whole nother episode, but I truly think you should grow first organically, build that foundation, and then flow into paid advertisement and scale off that paid advertisement. But you have branding first. If you're looking the average, or if you're looking below the average and your brand just doesn't look like the type of clients that you want to attract, then you're not going to get those type of clients that you are wanting to work with. So make sure that your brand stands out. And if it's not, then you're probably not going to succeed, or you're going to succeed doing details that you really just don't want to detail, like disaster details and minivans. And if that's your market, so be it. There's money to be made everywhere. But I'm gearing this towards people who maybe want to step up and get into the more luxury vehicles, a little bit cleaner maintenance or ceramic coating. So Branding paired with marketing, you have to now be able to be found, get your website ranking, get your Google Maps ranking, focus on getting reviews on a regular basis, because Google prioritizes businesses online that are getting reviews on a regular basis. They see that your business is active. They see that it's consistent. They see that it's not just brand new. They want to reward you by ranking you as you're getting reviews. So reviews is massive when it comes to ranking online. But that being said, you have branding, you have marketing, you have exposure. Those kind of all fall into the same in a way, but that's 1 and 2. Now, number 3 is going to be you. If you suck, then then your business is going to suck. So if you are not providing good services, if you're not, the results just aren't there, or if you're, falling short on the detail itself, then they're not going to tell their friends. They're not going to tell their family, and you're not going to get word of mouth going, and word of mouth is massive too. So that's just another avenue of exposure as well, is, getting those people that you detail to tell their friends, their family, their coworkers, so that you tap into all streams of people that they know. So the result itself has to be good. Your professionalism also has to be good. So if you are, let's say, kind of falling short on talking to the client and communicating properly, then that's a representation of your brand as well. So if you are not, looking the part, and I literally mean how you dress. If you're, looking like a below average detailer, how you dress, then they're going to present you that way. They're going to, the perception that you're putting off is going to be a below average detailer. So really dress the part. Make sure you look professional. Wear a branded shirt, wear a branded hat. Then also provide a good service. Make sure that, because we are detailing, the actual product has to be good as well. So make sure that the product that you're delivering meets how you want to appear, online. It's all a representation. Business is just a perception, and you have to, ace that perception for you to attract more clients and for them to tell other people. So make sure you deliver a good product, make sure that you're looking the part, and make sure you're communicating. If you're, even if you're texting a client, make sure that you're properly spelling things right. Don't text your client like you would your buddy, and, use terms that they just may not know, what you're talking about, because there's age groups to this as well. So like if you're texting a 65-year-old, they're going to have no clue what you're talking about when you're putting texting lingo, so make sure that you're texting super professional, like you would say it over the phone. Now, if you are talking over the phone, make sure that you're sounding professional, sound like you're knowledgeable, use some terms that are professional, but also that makes sense to them. Because, if you're using terms that only you or us as detailers are going to know, then it might confuse the client out of even purchasing the service that they're looking to get. So make sure you're knowledgeable, but also put it in layman terms for the client. Those are 3 of the big things. And I think it just comes down to a lot of detailers are like wondering, why am I not making it? I've been in business for X amount of time, and I'm just not, getting the performance that I want from my business. And a lot of times, man, it just comes down to you yourself, how you are, the result you're providing them, or the professionalism that you come off, or maybe you haven't been putting in the time or the work to rank online or to stand out on social media. Social media is another thing. Detailing, if you look at, let's say there's 100 detailers, 90 of them are just posting cars that they really don't even want to work on. They're posting every single detail that they do. And I get, money is money. You need money to pay your bills. You need money to, put food on the table. So I'm not saying turn away those disaster details in the beginning, or if that's the stage of your business that you need that money to provide. So still do that service. But if you're not wanting to attract those type of clients, don't advertise them, don't post them, keep some of the things that you do off of social media, because what you post is what you're going to attract. So if you're on social media every single day posting what you're doing on a regular basis, and maybe those details that you're doing on a regular basis are those destroyed minivans, maybe don't post those, and, post cars that you really want to work on and to attract the type of clients that you want to work on. But when it comes to social media, also stop posting just like every other detailer. And most detailers are just posting pictures, and it's sometimes a really bad picture of a car, not a good angle, not putting in the time of, taking a good angle, maybe editing the video, the photo just right. You're just kind of posting a picture of the car and then posting it, and that's it, and your whole feed is just going to look like it's going to look kind of average and below average. Post your process. Maybe take the time to put a video up or a reel of, how you set up, how you detail the car, do a voiceover. It doesn't take a lot of time to put these out, and it doesn't even have to really be perfect. You can use, your smartphone, and that's plenty enough. And you can edit on these softwares or these apps like CapCut or Splice or whatever these really simple to use apps are. It doesn't take a huge learning curve to get you good content out there, but really take the time to go the extra mile and stop posting just like the average detailer is. Separate yourself, get on the stories, put your face on it a little bit, put some personality to your social media profile, because essentially your social media is a portfolio of your work and what the type of clients that you want to work with, the type of vehicles you want to work on. So really take the time to post to go the extra mile and make it look and stand out better than the average, because that's kind of how you're going to separate yourself and get you to that next level, because half of detailers in your area are probably not going to be there next year. They're going to fall out, and they're going to just go ahead and get a 9-to-5 job. Now, for you to make sure that you don't have to be in that category, it's kind of doing the things that I'm saying. And it might take a good hard look and be open-minded to look at your business and look at your social media, look at your online presence, look at your brand, and kind of self-reflect on how you're talking to customers as well. But all of those things fall into the category of whether you make it or you don't, unfortunately. And maybe you're not a super technologically advanced person. There's so many resources out there now that get you to that, give you that, just even the basic knowledge level to be able to stand out and post better content, or, to stand out online. But really self-reflect, though. I think a lot of detailers are just not open-minded. They think that like they can just kind of go through the motions and just do the bare minimum, and that will be enough. Like, work is work, yes, but like doing the work at a better level is better, and it's going to make your business look better. So go that extra mile when it comes to, your branding, your marketing, your exposure, how you present yourself, how you talk to clients. All those things are massive when it comes to whether you're going to stand out, get the clients that you want to work with, make the money that you really want to make, or whether you fall short and, your business starves pretty much. But if you're not self-reflecting and looking at your own business and seeing where you fall or what category you fall into when it comes to, how you look, how you perform, then you're just going to kind of fall short. So really self-reflect, look at your business and see the things that you may need to change, you may need to redo, even sometimes your brand. Maybe that's one area to where, like, I look at a lot of these detailers that are on, Facebook groups and some of these, or just I even scroll on like Google sometimes and search some of the major cities and like look at what some of the like top 10 detailers are, and you can tell night and day what the top 3 are doing and what the bottoms are doing. It's just the ones that are in the top 3 and gonna perform and be in business for 10 more years or more are doing the things that need to be done and making sure that they look the part. The ones that aren't going to be are just falling short on how they appear online, how they perform. The results probably match how they look online as well. So just make sure you don't fall into that category. Now, on the retrospect to that as well is you have these detailers that I mentioned that are going to pop up every year. How easy it is to go from, year 0 to year 1 and be a top performer is so much easier than it was 10, 15 years ago because of the resources that you have. And just like they have, they can skyrocket to the moon when it comes to ranking online and really standing out. So it is a lot more competitive now than it ever has been because of the resources that are available online. And, your competitors have those same resources just like you do. Now, there's going to be detailers that pop up this year and they're going to shoot to the moon in your area because they're posting good content. They are standing out online. They're putting in the right work. So know that if you're not putting in that work as well to match theirs, then you're going to fall short and they might surpass you, even though you've been in business for 5, 10, 15 years. Time doesn't matter anymore when it comes to starting and growing a business. Me and one of my business partners started a commercial and residential window tint business last year. And we kind of just looked at the market and we said, hey, what are a lot of these guys doing and not doing? And we looked at how they perform online and how they, present themselves. And a lot of them just kind of are way too old school and kept the same website that they created, 5, 10 years ago. And we were able to surpass them and become top 2 within our area and grab a lot of that attention and grab a lot of those jobs that they are missing out on because they're not ranking anymore. They're not, redoing some things that they should have redone. So the same goes for every business. This era that we live in when it comes to social media and when it comes to YouTube and Google and all of these resources we have and these tools are such a crutch to some and such a tool and a advantage to others, and use it to your advantage. And really, it's kind of cool because not just within detailing, but you can start any business now. And, if you see a gap in the market, it's so easy to learn not only the trade, but learn how you can bypass your competitors just like that. So don't fall short and put in the work that needs to be put in, or you're going to get bypassed by someone who is starting their business today and you've been in business for 5 to 10 years. And that's another thing too, is with when I use these things like Google, social media, whether it be Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, or Instagram, all of these tools that we have, a lot of people blame those tools. If you're kind of old school and don't want to learn these tools and adapt, then you might blame these and be like, oh man, it wasn't like that back then. But on the retrospect of that is they are a tool. They're completely free as well. And that's what's kind of crazy is you're looking at these and blaming these resources and these tools that we have to grow and really expedite your growth. Because back in the day, it was word of mouth. You had a door knock and you can still use those things today. That's more of a grind approach and putting in that sweat equity. But those strategies still work, but the quicker way to success and probably the more scalable approach is to put in the work on these platforms, and you'll see faster growth than you were to put in the sweat equity by door knocking or waiting on word of mouth to spread. These resources allow us to kind of skyrocket and get to the level that we want to be at so much quicker. But a lot of people blame these platforms oh man, it wasn't around 10 years ago. But the thing is, these things are free, man. You have to look at it like a tool instead of like a crutch, because if you had to pay for these platforms, then it'd be different. But these are available to us for completely free. Instagram is free, Facebook's free, LinkedIn's free, TikTok's free. All of these platforms are 100% free unless you get into the paid advertisement side. But the organic traffic is pretty good if you create eye-catching content or stand out and do the things the other detailers aren't willing to do. So you can't really look at it as a crutch if you're not having to pay for these platforms. They're 100% free, and you should be utilizing them to your advantage and using them as an opportunity to stand out. So don't, and what I mean by standing out is, like I mentioned, I look at so many detailers on social media, and probably 90% of them, they're just posting cars, and cars get old. When you look at when you look at just a picture of a car on your social media, your client is looking at your profile, and that's the instant deciding factor of if they're going to use you or not use you. And they decide not to a lot of times because they look at it and it's it's just like every other detailer. If you're not putting in it's a subconscious to them if they're looking at your profile and they're like, man, he's not willing to put in the work here, then he's probably going to fall short on the actual product and the detail itself. So they're going to go with someone who stands out to them and it looks enticing, So if you're not going the extra mile and making sure that you stand out, then your customer is going to go somewhere else, unfortunately. And you should really look at like how your business looks and the type of buying habit that you have yourself when you're buying a product, or when you're, buying detailing products. That's a perfect example. And I don't think a lot of detailers correlate their purchasing habits based on how they want their customers' purchasing habits to be. When you're buying a detailing product, you're buying based on the look of the product. A lot of these chemicals and stuff are a lot of the same product made by the same manufacturer. They're just relabeled so that their brand stands out versus the other person using the same product but just not as good of a brand. So when you're buying detailing products or whatever ceramic coating company you like to go with, you probably correlate. They may have good reviews for sure, so their product is there. But also, you're probably buying based on you either vibing with the company core values, or you're buying based on how the brand stands out to you. So it got you to buy it one time, you liked it, and you kept using it. So you purchased based on how they appear online, if they were able to be found online, or based on how you just like looking at that bottle. So how your purchasing habits are, you need to incorporate that into your business as well. Is your customers looking at your business and vibing with it? Are they looking at it and being like, man, yeah, that looks like a cool company, I want to try them out? And then if you perform good, then they just keep using you. It's the same way you use products or everything that you buy. Everything comes down to how you stand out. And if you get that initial purchase, once you get that initial purchase, then you wow them, and then you have a client for life. But you have to get that initial purchase before you can, show them what you're made of, and show them what you offer and how you offer it. And but if they don't buy that initial that first time they look at your profile, or they find you, and you're not even going to get the chance. So utilize how you look at buying things into your own business, because it applies across the board, not just for detailing. I think a lot of people think that, detailing is its own industry and it's just a whole different game plan versus every other business, but it's the exact same game plan that every business uses. Whether you were to start anything else, you're going to have to go through a lot of, probably 98% of the same things that you would have to do growing your detailing business. The beauty of detailing is it's a lot easier to grow than any other business. Not anybody can clean a car. I don't want to downplay the skill that is involved with detailing, but until you get into like ceramic coatings, maybe polishing, anybody can clean a car. It just comes down to how you separate yourself from the other person that's also knows how to clean a car. So it's not a huge, like, you only know how to do it. Everybody kind of knows how to do it, but you are providing a convenience service, and so that they don't have to do it, or maybe they don't want to do it, or maybe they trust that you're the professional and going to use right techniques and products. But you have to think about the other 25 detailers in your city. They're probably using similar products, and they're probably using similar techniques to clean that car. But how are you going to stand out and make it to where that client thinks that you're doing something so much better than the other people? And how are you going to advertise those things so that they know online before they even use you that you do things differently? And the reason I say it might be you, because you are kind of the captain of the ship. You are the one steering your business in whichever direction it's going to go, whether it's down or up. You're the captain, and you have to self-reflect and be like, hey, dang, a lot of this is me. Like, I'm not, talking to the client the right way. But the bad part is, when it comes to professionalism, a lot of detailers they will never know. They will never know that it's actually them. They're the representation of how they're coming off. And they will never self-reflect or be open-minded to the things that they need to change and they need to do. So don't be that guy. So if you want to go up and scale and grow, then look at your business, look at the things that you are doing and not doing right. Is your brand looking, look on Instagram, really scroll through, search detailing as the keyword on the, like when you're searching on Instagram, search detailing and look at as many profiles as you can. Look at how many are going to look exactly the same. Look at how many are just going to just not stand out and just kind of look average and fall short. Don't be that detailer. Look at your profile and be like, dang, my shit looks pretty good, So when you look on Google, what are some of the content, what are some of the pictures that the top guys within the cities are like? If you're searching detailing Phoenix, see who's ranking number 1 and 2, see what they're doing and the types of pictures that they're posting, and then look at guys that are on like the second or third page of Google that are never going to be clicked on by a customer. Then look at their pictures. You'll see the difference, man. It'll be so night and day that the top guys are posting the cars and posting content that looks so enticing, and the guys that are never going to be found by a customer, what they're posting and how they're posting it. You'll see what you need to do, but just really look and do your research on what the major cities in the U.S., or if you're listening out of the U.S., the major cities in whatever country you're in. See what they're posting, how they're posting it, and see what you can do to match that. Then look at the average detailers, the below average detailers, see what they're posting and see how they're doing it, and then make sure that you don't do that. You want to stand out, and that's how you stand out, is seeing what is the average or below average, and what can I do to make mine better? What can I do to make my social media, my Google, my website, my professionalism, my results, going the extra mile, making sure that my business stands out? What can I do based on looking at other detailers within the area are doing, and to make sure that your business is a top performer? And I think the last thing, it kind of goes with the number 3 thing that I said, as far as like it being you and you being professional coming off, and the perception that your clients or potential clients get from you. But once you do land a client, really build a connection with them. Find anything that they're interested in or have that you can relate to, and dive into that. Personality is everything when it comes to business. People want to do business with people. That saying is so true, because if you want that client to return and tell other people, you want to vibe with them. And even if you don't vibe with them to the extent that like it's your best friend, you can find something that you relate to with them, and make sure that you pry on that and go deep into that. Because if I have noticed within business, it's a long-term game. It's a domino effect. The best way to get, and it's completely free, is the best way to get leads is by word of mouth in a way. So like, obviously you want leads coming from Google, you want leads coming from social media. But when it comes to the most green lead that you're going to get, the most like hot lead you're going to get, is going to come from someone who referred you from another person, because they're probably ready to go and they're not even looking at anyone else, because you were you got a testimony from their friend or their family. How you get those referrals is by wowing that customer, and how you wow them is by providing a good product. You got to get them in the door initially, obviously, but providing a good product, and a part of that product is vibing with them and building some type of relationship. It can be completely transactional, obviously, because you're providing a service and they're paying for it. So it's a transactional service, but you still need to end on a good note. And what I mean by a good note is when you leave there, they're like, man, that was a nice guy. I hope his business does good. Or, hey, I like the conversation we had, even if it was 2 to 3 minutes. But if you're just showing up, hey, Mr. John, where's your keys at? Okay, I'll be done in an hour. That's it. And then that's where you fall short on that department, because you want to have some type of connection, some type of relationship built, and they need to know the importance of your business growing so that they can support you. And I'm not saying, go in front of them begging for their support, but you will instantly earn their support if you build some type of relationship or some type of connection with them. They will support you for life. That's the beauty of small businesses, that small businesses have a leg up in the sense of your clients have empathy for you. They have, dang, you're grinding, man. Hell yeah, I respect that. Then you build a connection with that, and they know that you have high hopes for your business, or you're super ambitious, or, they're going to support you even further. But you have to talk to them for them to know that about you. That you have to talk to them and build some type of connection with them so that they can get to know you just a little bit and want to use you further than that first time that you detailed for them. There was a point in my business to where I would say we could book almost 4 or 5 months out of the year just on returning clients every single day. that is from me talking to them on the phone. And like, they may shoot me a text every now and then throughout the year and just say, hey, how are you doing? Merry Christmas. Happy Thanksgiving. Whatever the case is, those type of connections are building lifelong clients, and lifelong clients keep your schedule full without having to acquire new leads. So really focus on building connections. Don't just think that you have to get new leads and that's it. Returning clients is a long-term game. Here in 2, 3, 4 years, you could be fully booked just by returning clients, and then you hire another detailer for your staff to handle new leads. That's how you scale. So the detailing business is a perfect business model in that sense, because cars get dirty, they get them cleaned. Cars get dirty again, they get them cleaned again. So it's kind of, there's certain types of business models that only work. Like, we're in this, I told you about the window tinting thing, the commercial and residential window tint. Once that film is installed, a lot of times those clients are, unless they buy a new house, which could be years and years from now, they're not going to get film put on their house again because it's already installed. So we rely on that business to get new leads. We rely on online exposure and focusing on getting new leads coming in. It doesn't have that returning type of clientele business model to it like detailing does. So all of that being said, your detailing business solely relies on you. Whether it performs or doesn't perform, you are the sole person to blame for. If you're not putting in the work online, you're going to fall short. If you're not creating a good brand or standing out to the type of clients that you want to work with, you're falling short. If you're not even just to the core foundation of not providing a good service or a good product, you're falling short. Lastly, if you're not building relationships and building connections, you are falling short. Make sure you're not falling short because, like I said, detailers are going to start every year. This is a really easy business for people to get into. And if you're not putting in those things and self-reflecting and being open-minded to the things that you need to change within your business, then you're going to get surpassed by them, and you're going to fall in the rankings of what client or who clients want to use within your area. So make sure you use the resources that are available to us, the tools that are available to us, and put in the work on those areas, stand out in those areas, and then stand out in person. Be personable, be relatable, show some personality within your business, and so that clients want to use you and only you going forward. So that being said, that's the end of the Detail Spot podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you're enjoying the podcast overall and you are getting value from these podcast episodes, make sure to leave us a review. It really helps the channel grow so that we can reach other detailers as well. I'll catch you on the next episode of the Detail Spot podcast.